Captain on the bridge.
Alright, Captains, red alert. Alright, Captains, we are back on the bridge, and today what I wanted to go over was the actual confirmation of the ship that we saw in the whip video coming from Chicago mission. So, what we're going to do is go over the images that I kind of put together, and then also we're going to watch together the panel. I didn't get to watch it yet, but I would like to watch it with you, Captains. So here we go on screen. First thing we're going to do is look at the picture of that cutout I did. There it is. Again, I gave my 2 ECs in the previous video that we did. Captains, go check that out. Great video. We dropped our 2 ECs. We're also going to be dropping our 2 ECs here in this video, but I will link it at the end of this video. I had mentioned this looked like a Vesta. Lo and behold, it's a Vesta. There were some images that popped out on Twitter, and we got the official confirmation. And to me, just seeing this fly across the screen, I was already in. I was already in. So, and the thing that I thought of when I first saw this in its whole was this. Here we go. So what they did was they took the Vesta class plus the Eclipse Intel Cruiser, and there you go. What we have is the product of what happens when you take a Vesta class plus an Eclipse class. You get a... Now, here in this Twitter post by Hector Ortiz, shout out to you, sir, one of our devs from Star Trek Online, he's calling it our Caelian-Class Intel multi-mission science vessel. In the video panel that we're going to be watching, they called it a Caelian. I'm not sure which is right, but from what... And I did watch the first beginning there, but not the whole thing, because I wanted to kind of go over it. But regardless of what it's called, I want it. And yes, it is going to get a yes, let's go! Because look at that. That looks... Now, I've said before I do like the look of the Intel Cruiser. The only thing I didn't like about it was essentially the sort of nacelles. Top view looked like a squid. I'm just going to say it, period, point blank, to me. But how they did this, and I think I mentioned in the video that it looks like they just integrated the deflector into the hull, and lo and behold, there you go. It essentially looks like that's all they did. They took the front half of the Vesta, of the Eclipse, and then the back half of the Vesta, and there you go. Now, the nacelles do remind me of sort of a Discovery-ish-esque looking. Now, this wasn't exactly the Vesta class. This is the Aventine class. So this is, now this is gonna, I'm gonna drop in 2 more ECs when it comes to this, Captains. Now this is the Aventine class, like I said. The Vesta has multiple skins in-game. There's a Tier 5 versions, and there are Tier 6 versions. Now we're going to have a Legendary versions, and what usually happens with Legendary versions? Anyone? All the skins are included. Having said that, the recent multi-mission Clark has all the skins of the Malachowski and the Miranda. Guess what we're going to be able to do? I think, this is just my guess, Captains, I think we're going to be able to take all the versions of the Vesta, which is the Vesta, you did there, and be able to come up with some sort of kit bash of the ship. Now, I believe this is my own little kit bash I had in game, the ship I had saved on my, but this is more based on the Aventine. But the nacelles looked very close to what we'll be getting, and of course, here's that saucer from the Eclipse. Literally, that's the only thing they use, but that's okay because it works. It really works, in my opinion. And again, Hector Ortiz is from his official Twitter, the Caelian-Class Intel multi-mission science vessel. So my guess, this is probably going to be a 4-3 with hangar bays. And of course, it'll probably come with those aux cannons. Now, I haven't used those aux cannons in a long minute. Having said that, this whole set gave you like some sort of like phaser beam and also this really indestructible shielding that I really love the visual of, and I used back in the day. I quite enjoyed using the Vesta. Having said that, this is not an official canon ship. It's still kind of beta. Apparently, the ship was in the Destiny series, which is like novels, I believe. I can correct if I'm wrong, captains. Use that in the comment below. But I'm in for the ship. I do hope that with this, they're going to make the older skins work on this. And what I mean by like a type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all those others, and especially the legendary skins from the legendary ships, especially if you own it, that would be great. So the potential here for spending a good old time in the ship tailor is possible with this legendary version if it has all the skins tied to the Vesta line. So there's that, captains. I'm excited for this. Having, again, said this, my resources are going to go towards this ship. In my previous video that we'll link at the end of here, we gave our 2 ECs on the legendary attack ship, which we'll give an update actually right now. The trait, the tier 6 trait on that ship has been updated to be extenders for all the traits like surgical strikes, suppression barrage, recursive shearing, and reroute power to weapons, I believe it was. So all those are going to get extenders, which is great. It's a great option. I didn't really touch on it when I was going over the blog, but regardless, would have been good for cool reduction for those who are just starting. Now, a lot of captains are weighing in, and they're saying that this is going to be a really good thing, especially for Intel because of surgical strikes. Captains, you already know I was already using surgical strikes before all this. I enjoyed it because, again, my gameplay, the way I play this game, is very casual, normal to advanced. Yes, I dabble in the elite here and there, but for me, what's more important is just having fun in my ship, building how I want to, not having to always worry about meta. Not to say that I don't dabble. So let's not get that twisted. I do dabble in the meta. I don't stay there. I stay in my lane, which is filthy and is casual. So again, that's just a little update there. I thought I'd throw that in there because I was asked to do a little update in that video when Jeremy Randall, aka Bordicus, made that change. So props to that. And he made a Twitter thread on that saying, you know, as long as criticism is good and it's positive, brought to their attention with possible solutions and or just brought to their attention nicely, they'll look at it. And he did. So that's great to hear. Again, my resources will probably go more towards definitely this legendary Vesta than the legendary bug. So I'm excited. I want this ship. And best believe, captains, we're going to put a filthy build on this. So there's my 2 ECs on this. Again, huge shout out to Hector Ortiz. It's great. I love it. I can't wait to see other angles of it, especially the side profile, how it looks, but it looks pretty sleek. Had to swept back pylons. The nacelles look beefy, but not too beefy, not too slender. It just feels right. And the look of it, too, is really futuristic, and I like that. So there's that. Now we're going to go over to the VOD from their dev panel. And we're just going to play it. We're just going to play it. We're going to watch it. I just want to hear and listen to the design process of this and hear their thought process on there. So here we go, Caps.
We've been talking a lot, and it's been great. First of all, before we move on to the next thing, I do want to show off this, then we're going to do the next thing, but we're going to move on and talking about the design process of a brand new ship now. And before we do that, I just want to say one more time, congratulations, dude.
Thank you so much.
You took...
I will say here, I love how Kale is really giving props to Thomas here. And when we had him on the bridge, captains, he really made it his personal mission to make sure to congratulate Thomas via that little documentary. And that little mini documentary was awesome. It is well deserved, and you can hear it. And at any time that Cael has a chance to congratulate Thomas, he totally does. And that to me shows us the relationship that they have, which is really professional, and they really do care for each other. And I know, again, I know this game's not perfect, captains. Okay, let's not get that twisted. But perfect for me, having had a talk with Cael, I believe in my heart that they are trying their best with what they got. So, and that's enough for me. And hopefully they get more help in the future, more time to work on whatever's wrong. But that's not the point of this video. That could be a whole nother video, but we'll just keep going here.
You and your team, just through their passion for Star Trek ship design, managed to, by sheer force of will, make yourselves canon, and I think that's something that should be really celebrated.
It was all those whale manifestation
Yeah.
playlists to listen to.
All right, so we're going to talk about a ship that's coming up in Star Trek Online, which gives us a chance to talk about the design process from start to finish. And this is the ship called the Caelian-Class, which is
Okay, there you go. Caelian-Class. In the Twitter post, it was Caelian, so I'm not sure which is right, but when the official block comes out, if there's no copy-paste mistake, sorry, I had to. We'll find out then.
as you mentioned in the comments there, a stealthy take on the Vesta class. So let's take a look first at what the Vesta class looks like and what you did to remaster her recently.
Yeah.
Now, the reason also why, when we first initially did a reaction to that video, why I said my guess is a Vesta, is that there was a picture somewhere saying that Thomas was working on a remaster of the Vesta class. So I think, captains, it's going to be safe to say that whenever Thomas is remastering something, a legendary ship or a new ship is not too far behind.
Yeah, so the Vesta class is actually not a canon ship. The Vesta class showed up in a bunch of novels, the Time 2 series, I think, and some others. Designed by Mark Rodemacher. The Vesta class USS Aventine was captained by Ezra Dax, actually, and those novels take place in the 2380s after Ezra has had a more like a.
So again, this was all in the novels, and of course, this kind of took Ezra Dax, Captain the Aventine, from DS9. So this is why it's not canon, because this was just novels. I didn't even know about it till like years after.
She's evolved in her career. She's become captain of this super advanced starship that actually has quantum slipstream drive and phaser cannons and all this crazy stuff. And so we have the Vesta class in Star Trek Online. We added it back in 2011 or 2012. And so that model is, it's 10 years old. It's a bit long in the tooth. So this is actually a remaster of the Vesta. If you play SDO, you assume your Vesta will look really nice and detailed. I'm really excited about that. That's one of the things I love doing is...
To be honest, I am not the biggest fan of this model. I was more sort of leaning towards what I came up with. But this new Caelian-Class, I'm all for that. But we're going to see if we're going to be able to come up with some sort of kit bash that, but really, that legendary skin of it, whew, tell you.
Remastering some of our older stuff because the game is 12 years old, so there's a lot of stuff that doesn't look as good as it could if we had made it nowadays.
So I'm going to move on to the concept here, but how does it, just really quick, how does the remaster process work? Because it's mostly that we've got better technology and can add triangles now, right?
Right. So in the case of the Vesta, it's a complete rebuild. Essentially you just gather the reference and you make the thing, but you have a lot more detail to work with because computers are a lot faster now than they used to be. So SDO's minimum spec is a lot higher than it used to be because people have more powerful graphics cards, and that means we can just add more detail to the model now than we could before. Which the math on that is like they used to be 8,000 triangles, and now they're about 50,000 triangles. So it's like a factor of math.
A lot. It's a factor of a lot. That's the power of math.
Right.
So the first concept we were going to go with was
I see what you did there.
picture era Vesta class, which you can see some of the.
I hope we get to see these.
Here, which is a really cool.
I hope we get to see these stills, just like the one that Victor Ortiz had, because I think that was shown here too as well. But it'd be nice if we could see. This could have been a TMP era, and I believe that is sort of Thomas's love is like the TMP era.
Design philosophy is something that I know you really care about, with more TMP era ships.
Right, yeah. I mean, I'm looking
There you go.
to use the motion picture era. The Enterprise, motion picture Enterprise is sort of my favorite, visually my favorite Enterprise. I feel like it's the peak of Starship design. The Art Nouveau.
He's not wrong there.
On it are incredible. It's graceful, it's beautiful, it still has kind of a personality to it. And so any excuse, how flimsy, I will try to bring another motion picture era ship into the game. And so we needed a new design for this Vesta we're going to be releasing. I guess we can just say a new legendary Vesta.
Yeah.
There you go.
And so we're trying to figure out, like, what would that be? And so I was like, oh, we should do, for no reason, just because I like it, we should do a motion picture era take on it, because that would be cool, right? And nobody else thought it would be cool. People got
He tried.
hung up on, and it makes sense. They got hung up on the idea that the Vesta is like a top-of-the-line, super advanced starship, and like, why would there be a version of it from the 2280s, and then you don't see anything for,
He tried.
years, and then in the 2380s, you finally get this other thing. So, to me, it was lack of vision, but sometimes
it's the burden of genius,
right? But but another Ian Richards, one of our ship artists, did pitch the idea of what we call an intelligence-themed ship, which is kind of like what they did with the Section 31 ships on Discovery. But with STO, they are not Section 31 ships; they're just stealthy takes on Federation starships. They're meant to be operated by.
We recently did build videos on those caps, the Eclipse and the Phantom. The Eclipse has been released. The Phantom, just not yet. Look out for that, caps.
By Starfleet Intelligence.
And to be clear, we did it first.
Yeah, we did do it first. Actually, Delta Rising, our Delta Rising expansion, I think it was 2014.
Yeah.
We had this like kind of stealth bomber take on Starfleet ships. So Ian suggested, well, what about an Intel Vesta? And I grudgingly said, oh, that's actually a better idea. And so Hector, it didn't take long because the Vesta is already, it's long. You can see a couple examples there of other intelligence-themed starships that we have in the game. And so it didn't take much to marry the long, skinny look of the Vesta with that spiky, stealth bomber kind of feel. So this is Hector's final.
There it is. That's the picture that he tweeted out there.
I had to admit, like, it's super cool, and it
Mm-hmm.
has a little bit of that.
I squeaked a little.
Yeah. And it kind of almost looks like a killer whale, which
It makes sense that, of course, they'd make an Intel because, again, what did they just revamp? So the last two ships here that they revamped, the Legendary Bug and, of course, now the Legendary Vesta is going to be Intel. So full Intel, I'm okay with that. Give us a chance to probably do something different with it, especially with those aux cannons that we have not used in a good long minute.
I think it's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime that you get kind of a nature, it all comes back to whales.
Always about the whales.
They're not even here.
Like a running joke now.
Sorry, we have a player who makes a lot of whale crow jokes. But anytime you can get something inspired by nature in your design, I think people identify with that. And even just subconsciously, they can see, oh, that feels right. It feels like a natural shape or evolution of an idea. So we actually finished it. It's in the game, and we can soonish.
Soonish, caps.
Modeled by Mauricio Tyrena. He did a
Yes!
great job. There are a lot of
Sorry.
really cool details on it. It's got a new version of the intelligence material, but it can also use the original Intel material.
There you go.
Yeah,
Answered
so
that
I'm
question.
really pleased with how it came out. I think it's a great spin on the Vesta design, and it has an aggressive personality, but you can still feel that.
Jeez. Okay. What a time for an ad to play. Okay, we're gonna let that play in the background. Now we're gonna put this ship back because of course that had to happen now. Having said that, this is something that I really think they hit the nail on the head, because it does look really good in terms of its look. It's very stealthy. It's very sleek, and it does feel it does look like a whale. So, right, we're just gonna go back to the other screen there. I think that was actually it.
Has an aggressive personality, but it's still, you can still feel that lineage from the original ship.
All right. Well, we have a few minutes left.
It actually wasn't. That was it. That was actually it. So, there it is, captains. I don't think I heard anything of them saying that we can use all the skins previously, but again, they're not going to give us all that information. They said soon. So it's a Caelian-Class Intel multi-mission science vessel. So I'm super pumped about it. Now, this ship, I mentioned it before, it comes with aux cannons. It's been a long time that I've used this. Now, I'm hoping in my head that this is a 4-3. I would definitely go put the aux cannons on here, but make this a torp boat somehow. You know, captains that make this a torp boat. It just, to me, it just feels right. So again, thought I'd just drop the 2 ECs there. I'm say it again. I'm super excited about this ship. This is what stood out to me in that whip video that was shown. So as soon as any more details come out about this ship, definitely we'll cover it, captains. If there's anything else you want us to cover, you let us know as well in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to the bridge here, help us reach out to more captains, but any opportunity we have to drop our 2 ECs, we will do so. The captains, we will leave it on this until the next video.
Live long and prosper.
I want it so much. Yes! Let's go!